And welcome back. Our guest grew up in the vibrant Bronx, surrounded by a rich culture of graffiti and art that sparked a lifelong journey in fine arts. His passion for creativity has not only shaped his artistic expression, but it's also led him to share his skills and inspire the next generation. Joining us now is art instructor and muralist Akeem Weston, and thank you so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, you've parlayed this into a business, and you're doing a lot of great things, and it's all with the name of graffiti and art.
Somewhat is a mix between just enjoying art and seeing how it affects the kids I work with.
We were talking in the last segment with our last guest, and they said how really, Ryan said, in the Bronx, a lot of people pay attention to graffiti.
Yeah.
It's huge, and yet and still it's an artistic form. For you, unpack that for us. What does that look like?
I would say for me, it's like I grew up seeing it as possibilities. It was people that had an opportunity to capture your attention in milliseconds. So it was like I was here, I mattered, I said something, and as a kid, I just loved that concept.
Right.
It's like something I was like fascinated with. Sitting on the train, watching it from riding the 4 train. It was just like cool. My mom would never let me go out and do
Right.
that, but she was like, she understood where it came from.
And so you took that, and then also was able to transition that into fine art.
Yeah, so I was always kind of good at drawing for the most part. I could see something on TV or like understand things and break it down the way I can view it in my brain. So it was like they encouraged me to just keep pursuing that, working on that, and shaping that into what I do now.
So for yourself, that influence, right, of arts, school, extracurricular activities, can you give a little bit of how much that really meant to where you are today?
I would say I'm a product of like after-school programs, teen programs. I grew up in Townsend, Walton area, so we had a program called the Settlement Apartments. We had a thing called Evening Team. So it encouraged us to like take art, take poetry. First time we ever been to a Broadway play was through these programs. And it was like, when I got in that field, I took the skill set that I learned from doing art and just gave it to the next generation.
And now, that's what I'm saying. You've taken everything that we talked about, and now you're saying, listen, I'm paying it forward for the next generation, want them to have those same experiences. Talk a little bit about what you do now.
Right now, I am a muralist for various schools throughout the DOE. I work with a company called Start Lighthouse. We redo libraries. We create art that shows us and our stories. And it's just going around and showing kids the possibilities of it all.
And we're taking a look at some of the things that we're seeing right here. And so walk us through what we're seeing.
This is a library that we redid recently over the summer. So this is Lava in My Veins. These are like stories that look like us, sound like us, and it's just the transformation. So this was like a ode to a comic panel. This was at another school within District 7, SVA. We redid their whole library over, me and a group of friends I grew up with. Much love to you guys. And we just kept pushing it forward. So as you look at the art, you see yourself. So we did this with my students back in PS31. A lot of them were now in high school. So this was like different artists we introduced from different places. We got people to pay attention from like the artists reaching out, trying to contact us. This was like maybe post pandemic, and this was in PS5. The students helped recreate this whole auditorium mural. So we break it down step by step and build these items out.
Right.
So they get to see the magic behind what we make.
For the student themselves to participate in it, and then also to see the final product. Give me the.
I would say it's like it feels impossible in the beginning because they're like enamored by the colors and everything else. But as they go through the process, there's a sense of ownership. It's like, this is now my space. I'm not just in a school. I helped create this. I helped build this. So they're protective of it. They're like prideful of it. And I love that from them. It's like as an artist, when you can complete a piece and that vision goes from the sketch to the final product, it's like undeniable.
Right. So you got a business, Creative Plane?
Yes, Creative Plane. Just came out of the pandemic. I was given an opportunity to do a mural in the school. And then it was like, you should be doing this majorly. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about what does art mean to me, and I was like, art is not just the destination, but it's the process of going through it. So it's like the journey. So
Yeah.
creative plan.
Do you think the kids who participate and have the opportunity to hang out with you get a sense of, hey, this is something I could possibly do for a career?
I feel like they do for the most part. I'm not like the typical art teacher. I don't look like the typical art
Right.
teacher. So people are surprised when they hear that I teach art because I'm like, well, I'm over 6 feet tall. I feel like an athlete. I look like an athlete, but it's like they see me and they're
Got the
like,
Yankee
this
cap on,
exactly.
like representing,
I gotta
right?
represent. So they're like, they see me and they're like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I like this. This is dope. So we can. Is it possible to do this? I feel like they're like, I see you every day, and I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So it just encourages them and just show the connection between art and like the everything you interact with, from the chair you sit down to the table you're at. Somebody drew it. Somebody put it together.
And as we see these students here, and you're watching, we're looking at some of the students take part in this, and it's so freeing, but yet still it comes with its own set of challenges.
Yeah, because they get to see the amount of work that goes into creating art. Like for the most part, for like sometimes we are surrounded by it, but we don't realize the time that goes into building out a piece of artwork,
Right.
or the planning, or the execution, and just even like the business aspect of budgeting and figuring out materials and what works and trial and error through the whole process. So they get to live that,
Right.
and then they get to have that moment once it's like, look what we made, look what we created.
And I'll ask my producer to throw me up a couple pictures because I do want to go back and ask a question about time frame. Because when I see the work that's done, it's beautiful, right? But then the question is, how long does it take to get from concept to creation?
It depends. Sometimes you catch a mode.
Okay, like that one there.
This one I was created in like a week. So it was like we spoke with the young ladies. There's a program called GEMS. If you look inside, hidden in it is the word GEMS inside of it. So we spoke to them what they mean, what kind of icons, heroes. So we pull from different races, colors, and just put it all together. Even like just sayings from like Slay, Yes Queen, all those kind of funny things that the students gave us. It was like, how can we incorporate it into this piece of art? So I think this has been up within PS5 for like the last 4 years.
Amazing, amazing. And then this one here, light up word.
This is another piece that's found in PS5. So it's just inspiration as you walk through the halls, and then like, you know, the everyday just going back and forth, because people don't realize school is a lot. Like our kids bring a lot of stuff into those buildings, so it's always great to see things that keep you motivated or keep you focused.
Right. So as an art teacher, do you take the time to, you know, share art as the expression? How much do you really let them know also about art as a business?
I let them know often about it, because it's like they'll ask me like, how you make a lot of money doing this? And I'm like, without getting in specific details, I'm like, you can make a great living.
Right.
You can, and you feel a sense of pride when you teach people and you can see the progress of your students, or you encourage that kid who's into anime or comic books, or the one that's very quiet that's always sketching in the back, and you see them open up and get to be that person they always want to be in front of their peers. And then like the people that you who don't even consider themselves to be artists get an opportunity to do it, and they're like, yeah, I made that.
Yeah.
So like even like my little basketball players, it's like they get an opportunity to understand like your team colors, an artist thought of the combination so it can make sense for you. And they're like, even so, like all those things matter in this grand scheme of it all.
For you, saying, you know, listen, I'm a business owner now. I'm doing all these things. There's got to be a next. What's next?
We're working on transitioning it into a nonprofit portion. Right now, I'm just a vendor. So as we go, I work around with different schools. We redo, refurbish, and change beautification projects throughout neighborhoods. I want to expand it, eventually reach other boroughs, states, and just become bigger, put other artists on, and just let it keep building till it becomes something that we all be proud of.
Right. So do you have that one big goal that you say, I want to do this?
I eventually would like to do like a whole side of a building. Like I want to have a piece of permanent artwork that the world can see, and we could just be in awe of. I grew up seeing those kind of things. I had a mentor who has traveled and did artwork in all over the place, and she was like a big influence for me, Moana. And it was just like, I want to be able to do what she did for me for others.
Akeem, it's been great meeting you, man.
It's a pleasure.
And keep up the great work.
I appreciate you.
Keep inspiring.
I'm trying.
And you know you're not trying, you're doing it.
I appreciate it. Sir.
All right, now. Now, listen, if you want more information, follow them on Instagram at Creative Plane NYC. Encourage you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.